I'm back. This is part 3 of the altered book, and I wasn't satisfied with the 3D paint that I have used here. This one turned okay. The other one, which was another brand, it was like flattened out. So I took another one and went over the pattern of the dragon. Now, when everything is dried, I'm going to go over everything with gesso, but I've diluted it a little bit with water because I needed to get inside all the nooks and crannies, and basically I'm just doing it by feel. I don't have any exact measurements of how much water or how much gesso I've used. When it seems runny to me enough to work with, that's what I'm using. I've already done the other side, so after I'll complete coating this side, we can move on to painting, starting at least. I'm moving back and forth so everything will get coated. All this texture needs coating, and gesso is a great primer for the paint job that I want to do after. You don't have to use gesso, you can also use acrylic, and you can use white or even a yellow as your base. Sometimes I use yellow and it just it's not like that you can see the yellow, but it enriches the color that I'm putting afterwards. So again, it's better to experiment on the side first with whatever colors you have, so you can see how it works. Here we go, almost done. If I feel that a certain place hasn't been coated quite enough with the gesso, I'll just go over it again. I want a good coverage, but I don't want it to fill all the gaps because I want all this texture. So basically everything is coated with gesso. Here is our cover, and now we are going to move to the paint. So I'm going to place it like this for now. This is wet, this is dry, and let's talk about the paint. I'm using acrylics. Now I for this job I like to play with several shades of brown, and I also have here black. This is Deco Art acrylics. I've got here the black, I've got burnt amber, burnt sienna. This is something that I have from a local brand, I think, and this is more like sepia, which I really love this color. So I'm going to place them here, and I'll show you how I work with these colors. It's not that there is a lot, there aren't any rules to it, but I'll try to explain how I treat this. I'll try to start with the spine because, as I said, this is still wet. So here we go, and I need a brush. And I can't find one that I like. What shall I use? Okay, let's see. I've picked a soft brush. Now basically what I'm doing is I'm starting with the darker with the sepia, and then I'm going in and blending in the other colors because I don't want it to be solid color of sepia. It needs to have more interest, depth to the whole thing, and if it needs to look like aged leather, then there isn't one color. It has many shades. So basically I'm just playing around and mixing as I go the several shades I have, and the only thing that guides me is that in places like under this I will go and add the black and then try to blend it in. I'll even take another brush just for the blending, because usually whatever you have, if it's bricks or if it's an old book, then I took the wrong color. Then basically the darker color will be underneath things that are standing out. It's difficult to explain in English, I mean. So basically the darker color will be underneath. Here I go again with the lighter colors and mixing them up. I'll bring it closer to the camera in a minute so you can see what I've done, and in the hopes that you can understand what I'm doing. Again, I'm going to take a little bit of the black and go underneath. Now sometimes with this kind of acrylics that they are very light and runny, sometimes you will need more than one coat. For now it seems like the gesso is helping with the intake of the acrylic, so I don't see for now needing to do another coat. And I do have the sepia color, which is a heavier acrylic than the Deco. So as you can see, I'm dabbing away all these colors and alternating between them. A little bit of the black here underneath and a little bit of blending so it won't be too harsh, like so. And this is only the beginning. Here it is. I really hope you can see it. I'll turn the light off and let's see if I really hope you can see this. It's it's 2:30 a.m. so I need the light to see what I'm doing. Here we go. I hope you can see it, although there is some kind of glare. And here I missed a spot, and here. Here we go. So this is just the spine, and of course I need to coat everything like this. So here we go. I'll show you here how I'm treating, going over all this where I have the raised pattern, and again alternating between the shades of brown that I have and getting inside all the nooks and crannies. And even a little bit of black in some places, again to add more interest. Like so. And I'm blending everything as I go, as long as my paint is still wet. It would be very hard to blend this if it if it dries. So I'm working quite fast here. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to keep at it and cover the whole thing, and when it's dry I'll come back and show you how I'm adding highlights and how all this pattern that I've worked so hard on is going to pop and out of this cover. So I'll be back. I'm back. So I've got everything covered with the browns, and now I'm going to move in and add highlights. Now this side is still wet, so I'm going to demonstrate on this side, which is also in a little bit of places still wet. Now I took a heavy acrylic paint of bronze here, and I'm going to add it to my sepia color to make another shade, and I'm just going in several places very very gently and adding to my background. And you don't have to do this, it's just something that I like to do, and I think it adds to the look of how do I call it, the patina on the faux leather of this book. It's not like I'm trying really hard to make it look like leather. It's more how I want it to look, what I want it to look at the end. It's more important to get a result that will please your eye than trying to make something look the exact thing, like trying really hard to make it look like a leather. I'm just playing with it, and sometimes, as you can see, I'm going in with my and smearing with my finger and blending it because I don't want it to the bronze to be in my face. It just needs to add to the general thing. Here we go. And on the spine, if I went with the black underneath, then I'm going to try and add a little bit of this on the top with the bronze. I don't know how much you can see because it all basically it's all brown and the lighting is not very good, but I'm trying. And I'm going to in a minute I'll add the highlight with the gold, and I hope everything will start to take more shape so you can see what I've done. Here we go. Okay, so this is one side, and now I'm going to take the gold. Again, heavy acrylic, and not only it's heavy, it got almost dried out, so it's more like paste. It's more like modeling paste than paint, but I'm working with it, and it's even going to be easier to add highlights that it's not runny. So I'm going to smear a little bit on my finger because I want it now to go only on the raised places. I wanted to pick the texture and the raised pattern that I've done with the 3D paint. So you can see me also going with the gold on areas like this, and it picks a little bit of the texture from the paper towel. And sometimes there is more than I wanted, and I'm going to try and take a baby wipe and remove a little bit because I don't like it. And if it doesn't work, I'll just go in and like so with the brown, cover it, wait for it to dry, and then go back to adding the gold. I'm also going around the edges. Like so. When I'm going over the pattern of the dragon or the Celtic notes here, I'm trying to move with the lines and not against. If the line is like this, I will try and go with it. There is no rules to it. It's basically up to you how much you want to highlight and how much you or you don't want to. I'm thinking that maybe I've put too much of the gold highlights here, but I'm leaving it for now. If it would look too much for then I'll go in back with the browns. It's a little bit of a problem to go with the gold near the eye here so I'm gonna try and take a flat brush, put a little bit of the gold, and with the brush go here So the flat of the brush will put the paint on the raised pattern. Here we go. I quite like it. Okay, so here we go. Here is the cover. I really hope you can see all the highlights and the shades that I've added. I think I need more here. Yeah. Sometimes you need to take a step back to see what you're doing. So this is it. This is one side, and here is the spine, and I'm waiting still for this side to dry, so I'll do the same thing, and then we can continue on. I'll be back with part 4 after I've done everything of the cover. Will be dried and painted, and we'll move on to how we make the box inside. So that's it for part 3. Bye for now.